what's up, Saito? Welcome back to the Sensei Says podcast. I am Sensei Pascal, back inside my Saint-Julie, Quebec podcast dojo. I hope you're having a great week. I hope you are crushing your day. Thank you for choosing my podcast and or my YouTube channel today. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, wherever the icons might be on your screen or on your iPod, iPhones, machines. Yeah, I was moving my hands around like the Butabi brothers. Come on, guys. That was a night at the Roxbury reference. I gotta do it. What is love? Baby, don't meet me. Don't meet me. I don't know. See, that's why you have to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Exclusive things like that. You never know where when they're gonna happen. So back to our main thing. Because you don't want to see me dance around all day. Would you? Would you? No, you don't want. All right, so you don't want that. Reviews now. Yes, reviews. Discipline. Sensei discipline. Don't forget to leave me a review, positive review, 5-star rating if you think I've deserved it so far, especially for you listeners on the Apple podcast machines. Because by July 31st, if you enter a positive review, that's your chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. So do so at senseisays.link/Apple. Now this week is the second edition of my vintage episode. There you go, sound effect. We've got budget. Yes, sir. So what I mean by vintage, here's what I mean. I take once per month at the last Thursday of every month, I look back, I revisit one of my interviews I did during my radio broadcasting career. Because before doing this, 10 years ago, already a decade ago, oh my God, I used to be a radio personality on XM satellite radio amongst other radio stations. And during that time, I had the privilege to meet A-listers, quote unquote, meaning people that might be famous like rock bands, and this week is a prime example of that because I had the chance to talk with the UFC legend Dominick Cruz, former two-time bantamweight champion. He's a scholar of all things martial arts, a really, really intelligent person, and I had the privilege to chat with him about 5-6 minutes, and it's just interesting to revisit these interviews because at the time I was more kind of a MMA news kind of guy, but now it's just under the lens of self-improvement, what I can learn through these interviews. So what I thought would be relevant through this interview, what I learned with Dominick, is the way to avoid performance anxiety, stoicism, emotional control, and the stress of being in front of people. That's really natural, first of all, but there's tricks and tools to cope with that, and learning from the best from champions like Dominick is just awesome. You're ready? This one might be a quick one, but it sure is worth it. I said that to my ex.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
I am good. What got you started in MMA in the first place?
I coached a wrestling team in Arizona, and one of my students went in and took a class at a boxing gym, encouraged me to go try it. I tried it out and I liked it, and I never stopped after that.
I've watched your fight, your first fight against Urijah Faber at WEC 26. I just finished watching it. The fight ended in a guillotine, but I was wondering what got you was the knee before the submission hold, right?
No, it didn't get me at all. It was the submission. I went for the takedown. I didn't stick to the game plan. The knee didn't bother me at all. It was mostly just the guillotine itself.
Have you exploited any frustration from the loss in a form of extra energy or motivation in your fight prep?
No, I mean, I don't need extra anything. I mean,
I was under the impression that you had the title already from your last fight at WEC 53.
Yes, I do, but I don't look at it that way. I look like I'm going out to win something new. I'm not defending anything. I'm going out there to fight a new fight and win something brand new every single time I fight. I press the reset button after every one of my fights, and I just say I'm going out to win something new.
Have you watched the video of your first fight against Faber in the loop like Apollo did in the movie Rocky?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that video for sure. And I mean, it's an old video. I try not to look in the past too much, and I just focus on the present because that's what's important.
Still looking back, to what element do you attribute your loss to? Inexperience or one of those random things that happen in a fast-paced fight?
I would say that I lost that fight due to inexperience, and that pretty much sums it up.
Do you feel some kind of pressure considering the stature of the event?
No, I don't allow myself to feel pressure. I don't allow it to affect me because it's my choice. Basically, it's the same. I fought on the main event in the WC. It's the same thing. The only difference is there's a little bit more media, but I'm fighting in the same cage against one person, just like always. So, to me, it's just another fight.
Is there an added source of stress about establishing the reputation of the weight class before the fans?
No, I'm not worried about that at all because I know it's going to happen. I know that we're going to impress people. I don't even have to think about it.
What are the differences between the upstarter Dominick Cruz of 2007 and your quote-unquote champion version?
Everything's different. My mind's stronger, my body's stronger, my cardio's better, my grappling's better, you name it. Everything's improved, and I continue to improve, and I will continue to improve after this fight. If you look at my past fights, you'll know that people successfully execute takedowns on me almost none of the time. So,
and how do you intend to pursue that trend of people trying to get you on the ground but unable to do so? How do you precisely do that in an octagon?
What I use to avoid getting takedowns is my wrestling. I've been wrestling since I was 7 years old.
I am a former professional wrestler myself. There's some kind of ability of sixth sense, I don't know how you could call it, but managing your own weight or own balance when you're educated and trained heavily in wrestling, is that a reality?
No, that's a reality. That's a lot of what I use to stop takedowns, most of it.
Last time you fought Faber was 4 years ago. For some people, that might seem a long time, but in fighter years, if you will, that could be quite recent. Is the memory of the fight still fresh in your mind, or is it just a blurry image?
No, it's something I'll always remember forever. But it doesn't really mean much other than, go out there and I used it to fix mistakes that I've made in the past and make me a better fighter.
And for you being comfortable in a fight, what does that mean precisely?
It means I feel fast, I feel strong, I feel powerful, and I feel like my cardio is all in sync as one, and I'm able to compete at a high level at that weight class.
Is there that much of a difference between weight classes in terms of speed for a fighter?
I think that there's the biggest difference in speed and power when you lose that 10 pounds or gain that 10 pounds. So I'm stronger, I'm more powerful, and I'm carrying my speed down to that weight with me.
Do you think that choosing a weight class to fight relies on your own fighting abilities, or just relies on your physical, natural ability to be at a certain weight class?
I think that it takes time to adjust and figure out what weight your body competes the best at.
All right.
And you need to figure that out for everybody. Every fighter needs to figure that out for themselves. I feel that 135 pounds is the weight that I compete the best at.
So it's as much as a natural selection, if you will, as a selection of experience fighting in different weight classes.
Exactly.
Dominick, that has been a pleasure talking to you, sir.
You too.
So let's revisit what we've learned from UFC legend Dominick Cruz. Lessons or tips on how to avoid performance anxiety. Number one, focus on the game, because too many times, way too often, do we focus on the negative outcome, right? What we might lose, what is at risk during a certain endeavor or something we have to perform in. I'll take my example just for example's sake. As a karate competitor, competing at the World Championships and National Championships and all of these big time competitions, right? To focus on what you might look like in front of your friends, your family who have made all the way the road or the road trip or travel to support you. That's not relevant. Yeah, it is sentimentally before your performance and after, but during, nothing else shouldn't matter but what you're doing at that very moment. And that's going to bounce off other pieces of advice for today. But try to imagine yourself, and that's positive thinking, winning the gold, winning first place, having a blast, crushing your TED Talk if you were to do a TED Talk, crushing your Zoom presentation. Like, focus on the positive outcome. And I think that just that positive mindset in itself will help you perform the right way, the way you want to perform. 2, stress is a choice. And I thoroughly agree with Dominick on that one. Stress, anxiety is normal, and for a lot of people, it's just part of the DNA of the brain structure. You cannot keep yourself from feeling anxiety, but the way you cope with it, you either dwell in anxiety and the stress that stems from anxiety, or you find yourself tools or tricks or whatever might work for you to just cope with it. Doesn't mean you won't feel it, but at least, and that's the thing here, you're going to be able to control it. And that's what we want. While we're performing, we don't want the stress and the anxiety to take control of our body, of our mind, of our performance. We want to be able to control it and still be able to perform properly. I'll take another example of mine. And again, it's just a humble example. I used to do stand-up comedy as a, yeah, let's go. I don't know if that's the best example out here, but I'm exposed, so I have to go all the way through, right? I used to do stand-up comedy, and here's the weird part: dressed as a mutant goat. I said it. For those of you who know Saturday Night Live, the character portrayed by Jim Brewer, Goat Boy, that was my main inspiration. All right, I'm not going to do my goat laugh now. No. Do not pressure me, because now I know how to deal with pressure. And I said no. No means no, especially when it comes to goat laughs. But I digress. So what I was saying is, when you're dressed up as a human goat and you go out there and your main thing and your main objective is to make people laugh, with something you wrote yourself. You know, when you do stand-up comedy, you're basically naked out there. I think it's one of the hardest, the most harsh art forms out there, because you're being judged on the spot. So you know right away, you cannot hide behind a screen or a camera. You know right away if what you put your heart and your soul into is working or not. You either get laughs or you don't. And when you don't, oh, that's such a bad feeling. But so you're dealing with that. You've got the MC presenting you, doing a few jokes just to warm the crowd up a bit. And then you're backstage and you're memorizing your jokes, the layout of your bit, and all of the details, and you're dealing with that stress, that anxiety. Will I make people laugh? Will I look like a fool dressed like I was as a goat? And what I found for me was that meditation. Yeah, that's what I said. To meditate, whether costume or not, really worked for me. So I just stopped my brain from processing all of these variables, all of these things that might or might not, and that's the thing, might not happen. Focus on that. It might not become bad or be a bad experience. That's also a possibility. Living a good experience is also a strong possibility. So for all of these reasons, maybe 5 minutes before I went on stage, I would just find a place, somewhere I could feel just alone for a bit, a little bit more calm, appropriate for meditation. I would just sit down, be calm, relaxed, focus on my breathing. Focus on your breathing, in with the nose, out with the mouth. So now you're in control of your emotions, your brain has calmed down, and you're ready to perform. And as you are performing, last trick before we go to advice number 3, again, focus on your rhythm and go slower than you think you should go, especially on stage or during a presentation. It's not so relevant for sports, because sports usually you have to be explosive and faster and stronger. But as for maybe theater, comedy, stage performance, presentations, I think that is relevant. Go slower than you think you should go. And when in your head you're thinking, man, I must be boring these guys because I'm just so slow, believe me, you're just on the right spot. All right, number 3, after this long-winded answer, I hope it helps you though. Preparation equals confidence. Again, looking back at my karate career, when it comes time to perform, it's not time to practice. You should practice and train relentlessly until you're sick of what you've been practicing, until it's in your DNA, your blood. You could recite it by heart doing something else, and that is one of the key things. If you can't, let's say you have a presentation to do or a text to memorize or anything else. For me, it was a karate kata. So if I'm able to perform my kata or do my presentation while gaming or playing chess or anything else, talking with a friend or driving, while my brain is being occupied by another task, that's my sign that I've practiced enough. So again, practice until you're sick of it. Do it again and again and again until it's just a reflex. You don't have to think about it. You just have to go with it. And that will correlate to our second episode with a neuroscientist from UCLA, Dr. Don Vaughn. If you want to see and hear about his scientific approach to what I just said, how you can control your emotions and how your brain works during performance, I thoroughly suggest you go through our archives, whether on YouTube or the audio platform you're listening on, episode number 2 with Dr. Don Vaughn. Now enough with me. And it's your turn. I want to know what you have learned in this episode. So please leave it in the comments or reach me on my social media at Sensei Pascal or at Sensei Says Pod. Don't forget to go through all of these show notes. Everything I just spoke about is written down in the blog post. If you want to take notes or just have some post-its about some subjects you found relevant, go ahead. If you've liked what you've heard or seen today, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Sharing the podcast or the YouTube channel helps a lot. If you think that one of the subjects, one of the videos, one of the podcasts could help a friend out, just send it to her or him. Thank you for the support. If you want to receive the podcast fast and first, don't forget there's always the newsletter you can sign up for. I really hope you've enjoyed the episode this week. If there's any guest you would like to see or hear from on the show, please leave your suggestion on my social media. It's always a pleasure to read what you have to say. I'm doing this for you so we can both learn from the best in the world, right? And on that note, Saito, whoosh, you are dismissed. See you next week.
There's a thing called the progress principle that, through history, through data, through whatever, that we as human beings achieve happiness through progress towards a goal.
We get stuck in certain situations, and if we recognize that our biology has some amount of control over what we're doing, that we're stuck in certain situations, we might be able to get out of it.